Welcome back to Jordan's Everyday DIY. I'm Brett, this is my wife Melissa. If you enjoy our videos, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the like button and follow us. We try to post every week. This week, we're going to show you just how we made and why the heck we made this swing.
Okay, so this summer and coming into the fall, I have a couple bigger events that I'm going to be hosting here in our home. And I was just trying to think of some different ways to decorate and some photo ops to have around here. And I was scrolling through Instagram and I saw a swing like this on an Amazon commercial. And it just really made me think that this would be super cute to have here at our house. And it was something that I knew Brett could do for us. So
How convenient.
Yes, it's very convenient to have him. So I showed him my idea and he quickly made it happen. And so in this video, he's going to show you exactly how he did it. And then today it's decorated for the event that I actually just hosted yesterday. And it went very well. We got some really cute photos. And this is not only going to be a place where we can have fun at events, but it's a swing that our grandkids are going to be able to enjoy for a really long time.
Let's check it out. So project number 2 we have going on this summer is right here in between these two posts. Those posts go to an upper deck, portion of the deck of our house up by our kitchen. And Melissa wants to put a little swing in between these two. She's really big on like photo ops and stuff like that. So anyways, we're gonna do a little swing. Probably not gonna do a whole lot of swinging on it. It's not very big, as you can see there, the gap. And we have a picnic table back there, so you can't do any like huge swinging. But I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna head back to the shop and see what kind of cedar I have. I've done some rips on some cedar. She gave me a rough idea. It's kind of a boxy shape. It's actually fairly simple. So we're gonna go put that together and get some rope cut for it and get it hung here under the deck. So let's head out to the shop and see what we can get going in there. All right, so this generally is the swing. It's kind of got square sides. It's rectangular in shape. This whole thing's gonna be about, I think I have here 33 inches based on some dowel rod I have, and I'll have to explain to you how I'm gonna attach it to swing. I'm actually gonna make this 32 inches overall. So it's really gonna be a one-person swing, little photo op. I think I'm gonna put some decking or something on here, and she's gonna actually make a cushion to go on here. So as you can see here in my bench, I got a bunch of cedar ripped. It's about 3 inches by about 1.5 inches. So we're gonna do some calculating here and get some of these pieces cut. Okay, so one of the things I contemplated as I was going to put this together is kind of attaching it. What was I going to do, you know, at all the connections that I want to put these together with. So I thought about pocket screws, but the more I thought about that, I actually don't want to do that, just from the standpoint of like wasps and bees and things that get up in those small holes and build nests. So I think what I'm going to do is get these all marked up and drilled out, and I'm going to do some small wood plugs. So use some deck screws and wood plugs, cedar plugs, and the cedar doesn't plug out too good with the little plug cutter that I have. Kind of breaks off, so we'll see how that goes, but I'm going to use some deck screws. So I'm going to get this all marked up now, get it laid out, get all the lines drawn, take it over the drill press, and get all my holes drilled. All right, so as I get this laid out, as I mentioned, all these are 1.5 inches thick. I'm going to use about 3/4 inch to draw my lines so that when I drill these and put the screws in, the screws are nice and centered on these pieces. So I'm going to get this laid out now and get these lines drawn. Okay, so my plan for the swing, I just thought it might look cool. We'll see how well it works. Is through the base of it on each and I'm gonna drill some, I have some 1.5" oak dowel rod, and I'm gonna drill an 1 5/8" hole in each end, 2 holes on each end, and put this dowel rod through. And my plan is to take the dowel rod, I also have some 3/4 inch dowel rod, drill a hole through that and put a small piece of the 3/4 in through the 1.5". From the end view, it will look like this one. So that's your 1.5" dowel rod, your 3/4 inch dowel rod that goes through, and the rope will come down, and by weight will just stay inside there. The rope will be in between this dowel rod and the actual swing. So my hope is that it just looks kind of clean. No metal hardware on this. The only metal hardware we'll have are some screw eyes going into the bottom of the deck. So that's my plan. I'm gonna get these dowel rods marked, get them drilled out, get some small pieces of 3/4 cut, and see how well they go in there. We'll do a little finish work on the ends, maybe do a little, either a route or sand the ends, round them over, make them look kind of nice, and see how that looks. Hopefully it'll work well. Okay, so I've drilled my holes for my plugs. I need to do some pre-drilling in this now. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna clamp this down to the pieces that I'm gonna screw it to, get some holes pre-drilled in here so that I'm not splitting the wood when I do go to put this together. When I do go to put it together for good with the deck screws and the plugs and all that, I'm gonna be using the Titebond 3 because it's waterproof as opposed to like the blue label Titebond 2 or Titebond 1, the red. This is waterproof and it holds up a little bit better outdoors, so I'll be using that when I do glue it together. All right, now I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna number all these and label them, just so I'm sure to put all these pieces back together the way they go. So just in case these are slightly off, I mean, I measured them and drilled them all, but just in case they're slightly off, this is all pre-drilled to fit the way it is. So I'm gonna go ahead and label these 1 to 1, 2 to 2, and so forth. And that way I'm always putting it back together the same way. Okay, now what I've done is I've taken my arms, I've done a lot of my dowel or plug drilling like I've mentioned. I've taken my arms here and I've put, I don't know if you can see that, just a small little radius on there because this is gonna be the part that your arm sits on. You know, if you're sitting on this swing, just wanna make it a little more comfortable. And I'm gonna take this, I'm gonna grind this off or sand this off on my sander. And then I'm gonna take it over to my router table and I'm just gonna have a round over bit that I have set up. So I can just kind of put a round over to the top edge of this. I'm also going to take some dimensions on the bottom and just kind of do a little round over on the bottom part where your hand might go over that. So going to get those sanded now. All right, those came out all right. So let's go over the router table and get this round over done. You can see that. That'll be nice and comfy. Now again, like I said, this overhangs on the bottom just a slight bit, so I'm going to take a dimension there and just do a little round over on that bottom side so that if your hand's over there, you don't feel the sharp edge. And obviously you got to get these all sanded up. Okay, so now I want to take, these are the lower sides, and again, these are the ones that are going to have a 1 5/8 hole through each piece, and I'm going to put the dowel rod through there that the swing is going to rotate on or swing on. So what I want to do now on this cedar is I'm learning, I haven't done a lot of work with cedar. I'm going to drill a pilot hole through this first so that it goes through each side. And I'm going to drill down with the Forstner bit about halfway from each side. That way I'm not blowing out the back side of the cedar as it tends to want to splinter easy. So first I'm going to drill these pilot holes and then we'll get the bits switched out. So you see there, nice clean hole on both sides. So that came out pretty good. So I don't know if you noticed when I started the drill with the Forstner bit, since it's kind of hard to see that tip, I would loosely hold the piece of wood that I'm drilling and just slowly lower this down there. And what it would do with that pilot hole is just kind of find the center of that. And the piece of wood would just move slightly to where it's centered, and I could go down through and it's nice and smooth all the way through there. There's no step in it, you know, as if it would. If you just try to measure and drill it from both sides, you're probably not going to hit dead center on that. So came out pretty good. Let's do the other one. All right, looks pretty good. Okay, so I'll try to get a close-up here. These are the plugs that I put in last night. They're all dry and clean, so I'm going to go ahead and use my chisel and just take these off nice and smooth. All the ones I did today during the assembly process, I'll wait till tomorrow for that to dry and then I'll take those off. Okay, so I moved the camera up a little closer here. Now let's see if we can get you a good look at this. Obviously, hands are always out of the way, especially if you use good sharp chisels. That's pretty smooth. Sometimes you might want to just take a mallet and touch on this. Again, if you can hold this blade flat against the workpiece, comes off pretty nice. Cedar chips up a little bit. I can do a little wood putty in there maybe to fill that, since that cracks up a little bit. So put a little wood filler in a couple of those voids and get that sanded up. Okay, so these little side support structures, little angles, gussets, whatever you want to call them, are really just for looks. This swing is so small, it doesn't need these for structure. These are really going in just for looks. So you'll see I just drilled a small little pilot hole. I need to stay inside my dowel rod holes on the bottom anyways. So that little screw is really just gonna hold this in place while the glue sets. It's really just for looks, like I said. So I'm not too concerned about just how much of the meat I'm grabbing of this 2x4 here. So we'll get these drilled out so I'm not splitting them, and then we'll get them mounted in place. All right, so sides are in there pretty good. I'm gonna do, try to measure a crisscross here on the back, just for looks, and get this thing kind of buttoned up. So after that, I'll get it sanded. I think, as I mentioned, I'll give you a little view of this. Okay, these are gonna go in something like that. This will go through here. I'll put the other one on, and the rope will essentially loop through this, and these things will just sit on the rope. So that's my plan. So let's get those other cross braces done. So I'm gonna get this blocked, clamped in here, blocked and marked, and then get over to the table saw and dado out the center of this. So now that I've got these two marked, and you can see that, I'm gonna go over, not sure how I'm gonna do this yet, whether I'm gonna set up a jig on my sled, or whether I'm gonna just use the slide that comes with the saw. Let's go check that out. All right, so what I've done is I've taken the lines that I drew, if you can see that, the lines that I drew when I had them clamped together, and I've kind of marked them up the sides so that I know when I lay this on my sled, I can get a block or something with the right angle and put this on there, screw the block down, and always have the right angle. And then I also know once I raise the blade to half the thickness of this, that I'll make a pass inside this line, inside that line, and then just keep making a bunch of passes and clean those out. So let's get this marked. So again, I put a couple of lines on there. I'm gonna get a couple of blocks to screw down to this. We'll get the blade set, the depth, and then we'll cut these out. All right, so that's what these look like. Hopefully when we put them together here, hopefully it fits. Not too bad. The depth doesn't set exactly just right, but I need to clean those out a little bit with the chisel because I have some ribs in there going, but that'll, I think that'll do. That'll look pretty good. So let's get those cleaned out, get it glued up. Get some holes drilled in the ends just like we did the other ones, and we'll get them mounted in place, let this thing glue overnight.